Essentially, I walked you through the New York Times metadata and showed you that this woman had posted on X and essentially just like blared it out to the world. And we're therefore amending this because we think that it shows that she was plotting.
Lively is in full meltdown mode as Candace Owens' metadata receipts dismantle her accusations. Did she really think she could throw out allegations against Justin Baldoni and walk away unscathed? Her sob story was full of flaws, easily exposed by digital evidence. The media ate it up like starved puppies. On December 21, 2020, the New York Times ran a conveniently timed report, clearly planted to push Lively's agenda. She wanted the world to see her as the victim before facts could be checked. But then, plot twist, Owens flipped the script. Her receipts exposed how Lively's team had been working with the press before even filing the complaint.
On Friday, Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, amended their lawsuit against Blake Lively, and they included the New York Times data.
Instead of backing down, Lively doubled down, pushing a PR-fueled victim campaign. Celebs jumped in, organizations made statements. It was a staged crocodile tear circus. And yet, after running to the press first, Lively had the audacity to demand a gag order against Baldoni's attorney. The judge wasn't buying it. No gag order, no easy escape. Owens' evidence proved Lively had orchestrated the whole thing before filing. The second this went public, her entire narrative collapsed like a poorly written Netflix reboot.
On Monday, they're going to court because two things. Blake is trying to gag them. I don't think that's going to go through. How can you try to say you're playing this in the press when the entire reason we got here was because you tried to play this in the press? Like, you went to the New York Times to try to take him down and to set a public name.
Baldoni's team wasted no time amending their lawsuit to include Owens' findings. Imagine faking victimhood so poorly that a talk show host fact-checks you into a lawsuit update. Brian Friedman took Owens' work and slammed it straight into the case, proving to the court that Lively's story was a calculated setup, not an organic plea for justice. Blake tried to silence Baldoni's team with a gag order while playing the tragic heroine, but the judge shut that down fast. She ran to the press first, tried to ruin a man's career with a media stunt, and now that her lies were unraveling, she wanted silence. Yeah, not happening. The court rejected her request, making it clear she couldn't manipulate the narrative and then hide when it backfired.
I'm just shocked at how many lies were told.
In one of the ugliest Hollywood disputes in recent memory faced off in a New York City courtroom.
I want a judge to see our side of things. Girl, goodbye. Like, just goodbye. It's like the fakest thing ever. She's now fake Lively, crying Reynolds.
Thanks to Candace Owens' takedown, the court had to reevaluate everything. Metadata proved Lively's complaint was a pre-planned media ploy, not a real cry for justice. The moment this evidence was admitted, her legal strategy crumbled. What was supposed to be a slam dunk case against Baldoni now looked like a premeditated hit job. And now, the big moment is coming. The trial. Lively will have to answer for everything under oath. No more media manipulation, no more hand-picked interviews, and definitely no more hiding behind Ryan Reynolds' sarcastic tweets. She'll have to sit in court and explain why the evidence paints her as a conniving, power-hungry liar. And let's be real, the industry is watching.
Friedman says, due to public interest in this case, we have now stumbled upon this, and we're therefore amending this because we think that it shows that she was plotting before.
And Ryan Reynolds, the human equivalent of a self-aware meme, somehow got himself tangled in his wife's courtroom disaster, and not in the supportive husband way. Nope. This man went from being best buddies with Justin Baldoni to calling him a deranged predator overnight. Suspicious much? One minute, he's praising Baldoni as a brilliant collaborator, and the next, he's acting like he's the supervillain in a Deadpool movie. So, let's break it down. Ryan and Justin were actually close. Fundraisers, laughs, Hollywood bromance photos. Then, poof. A few months later, leaked messages show Ryan suddenly trashing Justin like he uncovered his secret villain origin story. Either Justin kicked Ryan's dog, or something bigger was happening behind the scenes.
So really amazing about it is he even says we now have a concrete timeline, which we believe implicates Blake Lively. I was the psycho who put together the timeline. So I think they've been watching the show.
And we all know what happened. Blake whispered in Ryan's ear, told him to pick a side, and since keeping his wife happy is probably in his contract, written in blood, he turned on Justin faster than Hollywood cancels an actor. Forget loyalty, forget logic. Ryan did what he does best, perform. Only this time it wasn't for Twitter, but a courtroom. And the timing? Pure comedy gold. Ryan's flip-flop lined up perfectly with Blake filing her complaint. One day, Justin is a hardworking friend, and the next, he's a dangerous creep. Convenient. But let's not pretend Ryan is some innocent bystander. He built his brand on sarcasm and self-deprecating humor, until the internet turned on him. Oh, but mocking Baldoni in Deadpool? That was fine. He and Blake slipped jabs at Baldoni into their projects, laughing at his expense. But now that the public sees through the act, Ryan wants to pretend he had nothing to do with it.
The reason we got here was because you tried to play this in the press. Like, you went to the New York Times to try to take him down and to set a public narrative, and now that it's backfiring, you want it.
And here's the problem. Ryan thrives off being likable. The internet loves him because he's funny, relatable, and doesn't take himself too seriously. But getting caught in a staged PR scandal that looks like a personal vendetta? Not a good look. Even Tadif, for once, admitted that online sleuths and Owens' work exposed this mess. Normally, they'd act like they broke the story, but even they had to give credit. This wasn't just a Hollywood scandal, it was straight-up legal deception. Judge Les J. Lyman had enough of Blake Lively's courtroom circus and finally laid down the law. Both parties were ordered to stop running to the press because, shocker, the case wasn't meant to be fought in the New York Times or on Instagram. Blake had been desperately trying to control the narrative. But the judge made it clear, this wasn't a PR stunt, it was a real legal battle. And for someone whose entire career depends on looking effortlessly perfect, this was her worst nightmare.
He's basically saying that she does not want to sit down for a deposition with Brian Friedman. Like, I know that this girl grew up rich and privileged, but how rich we talking? You know what I'm saying? Because does she think she's just like a princess that she can just be like, I don't like your lawyer?
Hollywood loves a winner, but more importantly, it hates a liability. And right now, Blake Lively isn't just losing, she's radioactive. What was supposed to be her big dramatic courtroom performance is now flopping harder than a low-budget rom-com. Worse? The industry insiders, the Hollywood power players, the so-called friends she thought had her back, they've all gone suspiciously quiet. Blake tried to turn this into a Hollywood versus Justin Baldoni war, except the problem is, no one likes her enough to go down with her. In the beginning, she had a few ride-or-die supporters. The usual feminist activists and a couple of washed-up co-stars. But now, crickets. No Hollywood A-listers are defending her. No producers or executives are swearing that Baldoni is a monster. Because no one in Hollywood actually believes her anymore. And they're too scared to publicly back her.
We talking, you know what I'm saying? Because does she think she's just like a princess that she can just be like, I don't like your lawyer and I don't want to sit down with him and answer questions and tell the truth. So she's trying to get out of having to sit down and be deposed by Brian Friedman. Like, sweetheart, that's not your posed by Brian Friedman. Like, sweetheart, that's not your option. You don't get to decide who your defense's lawyer is. He picked Brian Friedman. You don't like him because he played your game better than.
And then there's Taylor Swift's unwilling cameo in this disaster. Lively thought she could pull her billionaire bestie into the mess, but reports quickly surfaced that Swift wasn't exactly thrilled about being dragged into a full-blown legal battle. And who can blame her? No one wants to be associated with Hollywood's version of a messy group chat turned courtroom drama. Blake thought mentioning Taylor in her legal filings would make her untouchable. Big mistake. Reports now say Swift feels used, and she should. Blake wasn't trying to protect Taylor, she was trying to use her as a human shield.
Oh, we weren't trying to play the public, but we put it in every Deadpool scene, and we mocked this man extensively. And but now that the public is onto us and they see how cruel we've been, we would like things to be quiet, and we want a judge to see our side of things. Girl, goodbye. Fake Lively, Crying Reynolds, that's what they're calling them out there. Fake Lively and Crying Reynolds here, who want to pretend that they were not the bullies, that the public just saw right through them in this circumstance. But anyways, just wanted to say that we should be celebrating this as a major win because we were the ones who dug all of this up like psychos, because we have been obsessed with this case.
This is Hollywood 101. If you can't win the case, make it about something bigger. Blake tried turning her failing lawsuit into a Protect Powerful Women movement by linking it to Taylor's name. But instead of gaining sympathy, she just pissed off one of the most influential people in the industry. Meanwhile, Baldoni didn't waste time crying to the media. He dropped a 168-page evidence nuke. And when people actually read it, they realized this wasn't just gossip. This was documented fact. Texts contradicting Blake's claims? Yep, Emails proving her timeline was staged? Absolutely. Proof that she planned this hit job before even filing the complaint? 100 tread.
Said, like, Justin Baldoni's like my cousin now. He's my kombucha sipping cousin. You know, he had an unexpected wild dragon in me, and he's like the Jon Snow of her Targaryen story. He really never wanted this. The Jon Snow of her Targaryen story. He really never wanted this. He's like, I never wanted this. I thought Blake Lively was my queen. I'm like, dude, she just killed a whole village of children and innocent women. Okay.
This isn't just he said, she said. This is she lied. He proved it. And if Blake Lively gets dragged in court for weaponizing the media, it changes everything for Hollywood. This case isn't just about one actress trying to ruin a co-star, it's about whether celebrities can keep using the press as a weapon before an actual trial. And if the court sets a precedent that this kind of media manipulation is illegal, suddenly every PR-driven scandal in Hollywood is under scrutiny. The same actors and influencers who casually throw out baseless accusations on social media might finally face consequences. That's terrifying for people like Lively, who built their careers on manipulating the media. And speaking of careers, hers is tanking at record speed. She went from America's sweetheart to Hollywood's villain overnight. Her Instagram comments are a war zone. Social media is clowning her, and even her celebrity friends have gone silent. Remember when A-listers rushed to defend her? Yeah, notice how no one is saying a word now.
Wanted to be part of that team. The next thing you know, she took over the editing. She started making threats that she wouldn't promote the movie, that she wanted to be in control of marketing of the movie, that she would do nothing in terms of promotion unless she was the actual editor.
So congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
And it's not just her reputation crumbling, her career is disintegrating. Studios hate controversy, and they really hate actresses who lie in court. Her once promising Netflix deal, silent. That major fashion collaboration, suddenly looking for someone with a strong, positive public image. Luxury brand partnerships, quietly reviewing contracts, waiting to see if they need to cut her loose. Hollywood is in panic mode. If this case goes badly for Blake, it means celebrities can't just pull the believe all women card without proof anymore. Studios don't want lawsuits attached to their projects, directors don't want legal drama on set, and investors won't fund films tied to a scandal. This case isn't just Blake versus Baldoni, it's old Hollywood power versus the outsiders. She thought she could manipulate the press, courts, and industry to destroy Baldoni. But Baldoni? He's not part of the elite club, no Hollywood dynasty, no billionaire connections, just the truth. And somehow he's winning.
Justin, 5 years ago, was the one who optioned this film. He brought Blake on because Colleen Hoover is such a big fan. This is his film, and he has basically been pushed out by the Blake Lively show, and that breaks my heart because I've always been a fan of Blake Lively. I've been a fan of her relationship with Ryan Reynolds and the way that they parent their kids. I've always been a fan of her, but this has literally just become like the Blake and Ryan show, like promoting Deadpool Wolverine, promoting her hair care line, all of that.
So congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
Psycho, okay? Get on my back. We're gonna go get some revenge. You know I never wanted it. Justin. He's like, why'd you vote for Trump? Justin, stop. It doesn't matter who voted for Trump. Get on my back. We're gonna go get some revenge, okay?
Oh, and let's talk money. Blake didn't expect to pay for this circus, but now she's bleeding cash. Lawsuits aren't cheap, and Baldoni's $400 million defamation suit means even a settlement could cost her millions, on top of legal fees and PR damage control. If the trial goes badly, she'll be paying for years. Then came the ultimate humiliation, the total collapse of public opinion. Lively, who played the wounded actress, is now being called fake Lively. The internet was ruthless. The moment Owens' receipts hit, Lively and Reynolds weren't seen as crusaders. They were exposed as manipulators. The PR backfire of the decade.
She's such an incredible writer. She writes from such personal experiences and vulnerability. So to have these two women who are authoring their story, and also women who are really like, Colleen started.
She never inserted herself in this dispute between Blake and Justin over the script. But Blake certainly made it seem that way with the text to Justin. And I think, honestly, that text to Justin is saying, look at the power I...
And yet, Blake still acted like she was the victim. Even as her own words, timeline, and media games were exposed, she stuck to the same sad tune, but nobody was buying it anymore. Not the public, not the judge, and definitely not Baldoni's legal team. What's next for Blake Lively? Probably irrelevance. She can try playing the misunderstood actress card, but the public has moved on. Even if she dodges legal consequences, she's forever marked as the woman who tried, and failed, to manipulate the court of public opinion.
I just felt like, you know what? It's not okay to behave like that, and I think it needs to be called out.
I think that is an understatement of a word, a rift between Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. Taylor feels like she's been used.
Yeah, used in the middle of Blake Lively's war with Justin Baldoni.
Monday, they will be going to court, and I will be monitoring that and probably do a live. I don't know what time they're going to go to court, but we'll have some more updates on what's going on with the situation.
Hollywood forgives a lot, but it doesn't forgive someone who gets caught this publicly. If you enjoyed watching Blake Lively's courtroom disaster unfold, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Because trust me, this saga is far from over.
Or not in the Hollywood world, what is wrong with her taking over the film?
I've never seen it before in my 30-plus year career in Hollywood. And an executive producer is below a producer in the film world. An executive producer signed up to be an executive producer. And
Taylor started to ask questions, we're told, and she's found out that Blake, according to our sources, has been name-dropping Taylor to kind of, flex.
Sort of leveraging